سعيدة بتواجدك معنا. سأطرح عليك بعض الأسئلة فيما يتعلق بعملية السلام في اليمن. سؤالي الأولي، في الآونة الأخيرة شهدنا تطور إيجابي في المسارين السياسي والعسكري وإن كان في حدود ضيق. من وجهة نظركم هل لا زالت التنازلات من قبل الأطراف المتنازعة لا تصل إلى الحد المطلوب؟ وما الذي يلزم للوصول إلى مفاوضات بناءة؟
Thank you very much. Indeed, I mean, we all have seen more hopeful dynamics since last year, in particular since the UN brokered truce, a truce that expired in October last year, but that fortunately to a large extent has continued holding, at least in terms of avoiding any major military escalation. We see contacts continuing, we see regional efforts ongoing. As you know, the European Union wholeheartedly supports UN-led peace efforts and the work of the UN Special Envoy. We obviously continue messaging, continue interacting we speak to everybody and continue encouraging constructive engagement on the side of the parties with ongoing efforts, of course, mainly with the UN Special Envoy. And we want to see the UN Special Envoy to soon be able to announce a reinstated, extended and expanded truce, a truce that paves the way for a permanent ceasefire and also a comprehensive and inclusive political process where Yemenis discuss and negotiate the many things that have to be discussed and negotiated when it comes to security issues, economic issues, political issues, and obviously move in a concerted and determined manner towards lasting just peace in Yemen. This is what we want to see, and this is what we're trying to do our utmost to contribute to.
لتحقيق سلام مستدام لابد من إشراك الشباب اليمني في المفاوضات، لا سيما وأن أغلبية سكان اليمن دون سن 30. ما هي الخطوات برأيكم لإشراك الشباب وضمان الاستماع لقراراتهم ومراعاة مصالحهم في الخطط القادمة؟
Absolutely. I think that when we mention the need to have an inclusive peace process, that means obviously a process that incorporates and involves all Yemeni actors, and that very much means, of course, the youth and of course women as well, because women represent more than half of the population, and because youth is the future of the country, and this is a very young country. We're trying to do this also in different ways, of course, by supporting the efforts of the UN Special Envoy to have an inclusive process, also by supporting civil society. We support, for example, young mediators that are very active at local level. And of course, we try to encourage the political actors to have more women and more youth included in their delegations, in their teams that are following and discussing and eventually formally negotiating all these issues.
هل هنالك جهود محددة للاتحاد الأوربي فيما يتعلق بعملية السلام وأيضا في ملف العدالة الانتقالية حاليا؟
Well, we are heavily invested in Yemen across the policy board, from humanitarian issues to diplomatic and political. We try to use all the tools at our disposal to support, again, UN-led peace efforts, to support inclusiveness and inclusivity in these peace efforts. And we try to do it by messaging to the parties, by trying to encourage constructive behavior, as I was saying before, but trying to encourage the involvement of all actors, the involvement of civil society, the involvement, as I said before, and this is very important, of women, of youth. So all the tools in our toolkit, which is quite comprehensive, we're trying to use for the purpose of lasting, comprehensive, sustainable and inclusive peace in Yemen.
ما هي كلمتك أو رسالتك التي تحب إيصالها للمجتمع المحلي في اليمن في ظل هذه الجهود، سواء كان منتدى اليمن الدولي أو بعض التحركات التي تسعى للسلام؟
Well, obviously, first of all, a message of support from the European Union to the Yemeni people, The European Union is a friend of the Yemeni people. The European Union is very heavily invested and will remain very heavily invested in Yemen, in the pursuit of peace, the pursuit of development, and the pursuit of realizing the bright future that this country has. So you can count on the European Union to continue supporting all your efforts. And of course, a message also to the political actors, a message to the parties. Very, very important to engage constructively with ongoing peace efforts, to engage constructively with the UN Special Envoy and his proposals, and of course to avoid any unhelpful acts. I always mention this in some of the discussions that I have with some of the key political actors. The time now is not for blocking things. It's not for restricting things. The time now should be one for unblocking, for facilitating trade, for facilitating movement, for facilitating the normalization of life in Yemen. And this is very much our plea to everybody and our message to the Yemenis. And we will continue supporting all of this.